Hi everyone, this is Georgia West, the Genealogy Queen, coming to you with another week of updates on what's new on the 1950 census, on FamilySearch, and on Ancestry, and the new collections that have come up this week. So let's go. Okay, so here we are on FamilySearch. Get involved with the 1950 census. And as you can see, this is the current status of where we're at in verifying the index from the AI for Ancestry. So what they're doing is basically saying once FamilySearch is 100% done indexing a particular state, then they'll release that on FamilySearch as well as provide that information to Ancestry so that they can update their AI index with the verified information. So that's very important for people to understand that it is state by state as it's completed 100%. And so if you want to see changes on Ancestry as well as FamilySearch, the best way you could do that is by participating in helping out by verifying the index. So you can click on one of these states so you can review that information. And I do have another video that I encourage you to refer back to if you want to learn the step-by-step process of that. But it's really pretty simple and pretty intuitive. I am finding that the AI, depending on the location and where you're at, you might have about 10% correction. In some of the areas where I am indexing, I'm finding like 25 to 50%. Those names and other information need to be changed or updated in some way. And so there is quite a lot to do. So don't get frustrated if you're on Ancestry and they've released the full AI index and you're not finding who you're looking for. Be patient and or come on over here to FamilySearch and take a little test drive and see if you can find them here and help us update this index. And so as you can see, Nevada is 100% done. They're doing a final review and posting that up. So that'll be the first one. And then Utah looks like it's next, and you can see all of these here as we go along. And then right down as we scroll down below, you'll have this note. I've seen a lot of questions on this on the boards and on social media. And basically the territories of Alaska, Hawaii, which were territories at the time, Samoa, Guam, Panama Canal, Puerto Rico, and Virgin Islands will be published separately. So if you're looking for family that are in those areas, that'll come after. So right now I want to go through some of the other updates and other things that are going on both FamilySearch and Ancestry. 1950 census is not the only thing that is new. So I'm going to go ahead and click over here and start with a fresh page on FamilySearch. And if you look, you can go to search and then records, and that's where I'm at now. And so what I want to do is actually scroll down to find a collection, and I'm going to browse all collections. And then what I do is I click on this last updated just a couple of times to make sure that it has what has been updated the most recently. So some of these are brand new collections and some of them have additional records that have been added. And so this week we have a lot from Brazil, Bolivia, Paraguay, Brazil, Peru, right? So we have a lot of that. We also have some in here that are from New York birth indexes outside New York City. We have some South Africa. I'm going to go ahead and click on the next page. We have English, nonconformist records, more from Brazil, Venezuela, South Africa, Samoa. That's awesome. A lot from Mexico, and a lot of South American records are coming up. And then there's this huge amount that have come through on the Columbia Catholic Church records, 23 million records. So that is fabulous. And then Chile, we have almost 7 million, right, records that have come up. And then Portugal. So we had a bunch from Portugal come up, and they're kind of separated out into different collections, but over the course of those, there's quite a few. And then updates to England, especially this Middlesex Parish records. That's pretty amazing. And California cemetery records, if you're interested in that. And Venezuela Catholic Church records, 19 million records. So again, there's just so many that have happened just in these last few days. And then here we go. So Portugal, if you have ancestors that come through Portugal to the United States or from Portugal to South America and then into the United States, these are some great records. They're going back into the 1500s. How cool is that, right? So again, a lot of records just in the last 2-3 days that have come up for these areas. And again, we have some more from Portugal, and then Spain and France. Canadian border entry list from the decade of 1908 to 18, so that's cool. Again, there's just so many that have come up here, and so I'm just giving you a quick look at what those are. But please, when you're not sure like what's new, or you're like, well, I've already looked for my ancestors and they're not there, come on back, right? And so I check periodically every few weeks, and I look to see on this browse collection, view all records, and see what's been updated, what are the last things that have happened. Again, England, we have millions of records that have been updated, and those were quite substantially lower just in the last week. So there's been just a substantial amount that have been increased just in this last week. So if you're frustrated, or you're like waiting for the 1950 census and you're saying like, well, what else can I do? Come take a look and see what's been on FamilySearch. The other thing is I'm going to click over here to Ancestry and do the same thing. So I go to search, and then I select all collections. And it's going to bring me to this page. And what you do is you scroll down through all of this, and you can just jump right in and start searching for your family. But if you want to know what's new or what's been added, so you don't have to keep searching for the same person over and over again, you can scroll down to the bottom here where it says view all in card catalog. So when we click on that, we sort by date added here, and it shows you everything that is new on Ancestry. So we have, obviously just, again, it shows you millions of records that have been added, UK and Ireland obituaries from newspapers.com, marriage indexes. We have some women's military records for the Royal Naval Service and Royal Air Force Service, which is great for the UK. And we also have the Korean conflict casualty records. So if you have someone who is in the Korean War, that is also in there. We have some great additions here for Kiev, Ukraine, 6 million records from the Orthodox Church. And of course, the 1950 census as the AI index. And again, we've talked about that before. But again, there's all of these here that have been added. We have a lot of French records that have been added in the vital records, 20 million records, another 10 from France, Latvia. I'll be diving into that a little bit as well. So again, this is what's new on Ancestry, by viewing their card catalog and seeing what's been added in the last week. And so I invite you guys and encourage you just to kind of know where these are and to periodically check them and see what's new. And if there's something in an area that you're like, there hasn't been any records available, you can search here and see what's been added, and then obviously research. You can click on an individual collection. If you say, well, I don't want to have to research the tens of thousands of hits on a very common name, you can click on that particular thing and you can search just within the collection, right? And so I think that's really important too, so you can see, well, are they in there? So with that, I hope everyone's having a great week. I am as well, and we're having lots of fun. I did want to do one quick thing, since on FamilySearch there are so many South American and ones in Spanish, French, and German that have come into play. At any time, if you're someone who is not native to the English language and you have an account with FamilySearch, you can click down here at the very bottom. It says English, and I can click on that and I can change it to my native language, or as close to as possible. So it doesn't have every language, but it has the most common that most people are familiar with, right? So we have Spanish and French and Deutsch and Italian and Polish, etc. And so you can go through these and see if there's one that might be more comfortable for you to be reading in. I'm going to go ahead and click on Spanish just to kind of give you an idea. And all of a sudden you notice that everything has now changed to Spanish. So all of those headlines, all of the information, I can go ahead and click on, get back kind of to the home page so you can see it here. Everything's changed into Spanish, and so for someone who is native Spanish speaking, that's a lot easier for them to have to try to translate into English, right? and then I can just go ahead back down here on the bottom and click back into English or whatever language I want. So I've had a few people just in this past week ask me about that, and so I just wanted to give that little tip. I, again, hope you're having a great week and have fun and happy hunting.